Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. First things first, if you haven't seen, my Facebook page has a very different name. You'll find that my website and all my social media are now on the same name. So, if you're already following me before, then you'll still be following me just because I changed my name. But if you're looking for my website, it's now at birchanimalwellness.com. If you're looking for it, because my old site does not exist anymore, in case you're wondering where it went. I'm here to talk about pet car travel, because a lot of families take road trips in the summer, and those that do take their pets with them should know a little bit about safety, just because sometimes they get overlooked and it can be quite dangerous for them. I know if Kaya was in my car accident, she could have died because of the speed at which we were hit. So, always safety first with animals. Something interesting is that they're actually not supposed to hang their head out the window, not just from being hit by debris or things that are outside, but the velocity of the wind flow coming up into their face can actually damage their respiratory system. So if you do it continuously over time, it actually weakens their respiratory system, which is sad. Airbags, obviously they're not supposed to be in the front seat ever, because airbags can cause very severe damage to them, especially if they're smaller ones. Never in the front seat. Restraint harnesses are always a good way to go in the car. They're like doggy seatbelts, and they have several different styles. Most of them clip to the current seatbelt that's already in the car. They have harness style. They have front fastening or back fastening with little slidey things, so they have a little more mobility in the car. Some dogs prefer that. Some like staying completely in their little box. I know smaller dogs have what they call bed boxes, and they strap around the headrest of the car, and they're little mesh boxes, and the smaller dogs sit in those, and they're safer in case anything gets hit from the side or the front, that they'll stay in that box. Truck beds is the same issue with the air velocity. If they spend a lot of time in the truck beds, not only is there nothing tethering them to the truck bed, but the velocity is coming at them from multiple places, so it can damage their respiratory system. You can get dog gates if you have multiple dogs, and usually it's between the trunk and the second row of seats in the car. Obviously, if you have a car that doesn't have an open trunk, then the back seat would be safest, and you can get a gate for between the front seats and the back seats. Basically just keeps them from getting in your space and distracting you. You can still see them, you can still make sure they're okay, but they can't, knock something over or crawl in the front seat and jump out the window kind of thing. There are seat protectors, and I absolutely love mine because Kaya loves mud. And I got mine at Pet Value. Forget how much it was, but I have it's called a bench seat cover, because it covers the entire back two seats. They have straps that go around the headrest on both seats. It has a pocket in the middle for like poop bags, extra things like that, and it has another one on the bottom. On the bottom there's elastics, and it stretches around the bottom of the seat, and you can tighten it or loosen it. It is a hassle to get in and out of the car, because I have to put the seats forward, unhook the thing that connects behind the seats. So I kind of have to lean the seat forward, put the thing back, put it back, and then connect it. But you can take it out and wash it, which is really nice, because once in a while she goes straight from the mud to my car, and it keeps it a little cleaner. Not that I don't have to use Kaya's brush to get the dog hair off the seats, but there's a lot of sand that gets in, because it does have room for the base part of the seatbelt where you click it in, and sometimes the sand gets in there. But it keeps my car relatively clean, which makes me happy. because I have a black interior on my car and Kai has a lot of white hair. You can do behavior shaping for car rides if your animal doesn't like being in the car. And I know it depends on where you tend to take them. If you only ever put them in the car when they're going to the vet, I would not be surprised if they do not like getting in the car. But if you put them in the car, drive them to the park, get out, they'll be much more excited to get in the car as long as you don't tell them where you're going. But behavior shaping is the idea that you start with the base behavior. So walk near the car, give them a treat. Put them in the car, but don't turn it on, give them a treat. Kind of thing. Get them comfortable with the feeling of being in the car when it's not moving. Roll the windows up and down, open the doors, close the doors, see how they feel. And then eventually, drive around the block, come back, give them a treat. That's it. Work your way up to shorter trips around the neighborhood, longer trips visiting relatives. And then when you're ready to do a long road trip, your dog or cat will be ready to do it with you. Car sickness is not that common in dogs and cats. Typically, cats are always put in kitty harriers just because they'll move around quite a bit more than dogs because they can climb on things. But the interesting thing that I read about car sickness is that in most four-legged pets, it's caused by nausea. Sorry, it's caused by anxiety, not by dizziness or nausea. Because they're so stressed out about being in the car that they're shaking and they lose their balance, and it's not a good thing. So you have to make sure to get them comfortable with being in the car. Kaya's first trip ever, we picked her up. We went to visit her for a day. We went to pick her up. We picked her up at a farm, drove about 3 blocks, and we took her to a park. And she did perfectly fine. We drove her back. She was good. But the day we came to take her home, we had almost a 2-hour car ride home. We took about 5 pit stops so she could go pee. She did very well at the pee. We just put her on the grass. She went pee, say good pee, give her a cookie. That was good. But she did not like being in the car at all. And I still have scratches on my arm to prove it because she was climbing all over me trying to get out the window. But that's the longest car ride she's ever been on. The next longest was about an hour and 20 minutes. So you kind of work your way up. I mean, I take her to the forest all the time. We go to the dog park. We go to the regular park. We go to visit my friends that are nearby. She has play dates. I mean, she's pretty okay at being in the car, but sometimes I give her a rescue remedy if that helps her relax before getting in the car, because then she'll start to attribute being in the car with being calm. And that's exactly what you want. Don't give them too much food while the car is moving, because that can create motion sickness and they may vomit. Something else to consider, but always carry some little snacks in the car. And if your vet has approved motion sickness medication, then keep that in the car as well. Do not leave them in the car. I've had a couple incidents of this, and even with babies, you cannot leave your dog in a hot car, and especially with the temperatures going over 40 this weekend, I do not want to see any dogs left in cars, because I will be one of those crazy people that grabs a rock and smashes the window and takes your dog out, because they can die in less than a few minutes. With the heat like that, if you cannot take them where you're going, do not take them. Leave them at home with lots of cool things in the air conditioning with food and snacks and all that stuff. But you do not want to be the one to come back to your car and find your animal like that. So please, please, please do not leave your dog in a hot car or your cat. You can actually take cat carriers in a lot of places as long as they don't sell food, because the cat's contained. So that's something else to consider. For long trips, there's a lot of things you want to take with you. Your tags, your vet information, medication, toys. Obviously give them lots of potty breaks. You want to give them bottled water because they may not adjust to the taste of the different water in the place that you're going to. And look into pet-safe hotels. If you're taking a cat, you need a cat carrier, litter box, and a cat harness for breaks when they need to stretch or go potty or something like that. But do make sure that there's not dogs stretching at the same parking lot if they don't get along with dogs. But those are all of the safety tips I have for you for car travel. Just get them used to it. I find they're not so bad if you get them used to it. But anyway, if you guys have any questions about that or about my new business name, feel free to contact me. I had quite a few questions yesterday about my name choice. I've always lived on a property with a lot of birch trees. They're a very feminine tree. They're been used for their medicine for thousands of years. They're a very big healing tree, and they're supposed to symbolize new beginnings. They're also called the goddess tree, which is pretty cool. So I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Stay cool this weekend, please, please, and I will see you in July.